Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. This is going to be a quick guide and test video regarding oilseed radish in Farming Simulator 22. So if you don't know what oilseed radish is, it is an additional kind of crop type in a way. Now if you look down there in the bottom right hand corner, it says we're planting soy. If I go over to that icon right there, that is oilseed radish. So what does oilseed radish do? You don't harvest it and sell it like you would any other crop. What you do is you plant it, and then after it grows, you cultivate it into the ground, and then you get a fertilizer state from it. So yeah, now that does seem like a lot of work to get a fertilizer state compared to, well, using a fertilizer spreader or a sprayer like are over there. But we're gonna talk about why you might wanna use oilseed radish instead. For one, if you're doing like some sort of role play aspect, and you could use like manure, slurry, or you could use oilseed radish if you wanted to role play it being more organic. But again, if you're just playing the game normally, that wouldn't really appeal to you a whole lot. Oilseed radish does grow fairly quickly, so after we plant it, it will be grown, it will be completely grown up overnight. So tomorrow it'll be ready to be cultivated in. Now, why do you want to use it? Again, why do you want to use it? Well, if you look in the store at cost of different stuff here, pallets of fertilizer, fairly expensive. Seeds aren't too bad. If we go to pallets here, liquid fertilizer is super expensive, and again, seeds aren't too bad. So it actually ends up being cheaper, at least it did in FS19. That's why we're going to do a test today. It ended up being cheaper because it would use hardly any seeds. It used barely any seeds to plant this whole field here, or to plant the field, compared to the amount of fertilizer and liquid fertilizer it would need if you fertilize it separately. Now, it is slower because yes, you have to wait a day for it to grow, but if you're playing with seasons on, you can do this out of season, because if we go in here and we turn on our seasons, return seasonal growth to yes, go up to our seasonal calendar, go down to oilseed radish, you can plant it in this whole window here, and then you could cultivate it in whenever. So you have a bigger window to plant it. So if you are getting ready to, while you're getting ready to plant any of these crops here or this crop here, you can get it in there whenever you wanted to, or if you have free time. So just be aware of that. It gives you a little bit easier way to get some fertilizer in there and take a little bit less money, if you will. Now, that does work if you do it manually yourself. Just know that obviously, well, this is a seeder. It's going to take me longer to seed a field than it is to fertilize a field. So just be aware of that as well. It might cost you a little bit more in vehicle maintenance, stuff like that. Maybe just slightly. But the main thing will be if you're hiring a worker, it's going to cost you more in time. So yeah, now that we have it set to oilseed radish, we can go ahead and we'll get this guy lined up here. And I'm going to go ahead and hire him. And I'm going to measure how much seed he uses. So he's going to use a little bit of seed here. Now look, he's using hardly any seed. We use 2 liters and we've gotten that whole chunk done, which is pretty impressive here. I mean, we might use 10 liters for one row, which is honestly hardly any seed at all compared to, if you want to know how much seed it takes to plant other crops in this, look at my crop test video or my crop profit video where we actually tested that to see how many or how much it took to plant this exact field right here. This is the same field we're using. So yeah, look at that, 13 liters for that little row. So I'm going to go ahead and let this guy finish planting up here, and then I'll bring you guys back in. All right, we finished planting it, and it only took 46 liters of seed to get this planted. And I will put a spreadsheet together to kind of show you guys how everything looks here in a little bit after we do the test. So let's go ahead and finish talking about oilseed radish though before we talk about our test. We're just going to fast forward time here into tomorrow. You'll see that. We'll give it a second to catch up. There you go. It is ready to go now. So if we look in the menu here, you can see we only have 1 fertilizer state on there. That's not from the oilseed. That was there prior to us doing this. So if we take a cultivator now, this is how you're actually going to get your oilseed to work for you. Now, you also can use a direct reel seeder. So I know you can do this. This is one way I've seen a lot of people use oilseed very well. If you plant it in the ground, then you use a direct drill seeder that also fertilizes. You'll get your 2 fertilizer states just like that. Now, if I come up to here, hire this worker right here. So again, you can direct drill it in. You can subsoil it in, cultivate it in. I'm going to cultivate it here. You can see it's going away. Now, if we go into the menu here and we zoom in, we are getting our second layer of fertilizer just right through there. So there you go. That is how the oilseed is actually going to end up working for you. But yeah, let's talk about our test right now. I'm actually just going to go ahead and we'll unhire this guy so we can talk about our test. So we now know we have some data here on how much seed it takes to put oilseed in the ground and get a fertilizer state that way. So there's a couple other ways to get fertilizer. I'm not going to talk about organic fertilizers as far as manure and slurry. The reason being because those take a little bit more work to get, because you have to actually manufacture those essentially, or have animals produce those for you, or digestate. You have to put stuff into the BGA and get digestate out. So we're just going to use the stuff that you can buy in the store. So first things first, this guy right here, this is a subsoiler. This is the Bednar Terraland. This guy is found in here under, where's our subsoilers at? Down at the very end. The reason we're using this is because this guy also can fertilize while you use subsoil. So we're going to test it out with that. We get over on the other side here, we have a solid fertilizer spreader, which we will use, and a liquid fertilizer spreader. So we'll test liquid fertilizer, solid fertilizer, and then solid fertilizer with this guy right here. So those are the 3 different tests we're going to see. Obviously these, well, not maybe this one. This one's going to be fairly slow to get fertilizer down, but these 2 are going to be fairly quick compared to seeding and waiting a day, obviously. Well, this one you don't have to wait a day, of course, but that's the one thing with the oilseed is you do have to wait that extra day, so it does kind of slow you down a little bit, but it is a fairly cheap fertilizer. So we'll just take a look at it here. I'm going to go ahead and run these tests, and then I'll bring you guys back in at the very end, and we'll take a look at some of the results. All right, I have completed the testing. So first off, I want to talk about, before I show you guys the chart here and we take a look at it, I want to talk about how I calculated what my cost I was going to take for per 1,000 liters of seed, liquid fertilizer, and solid fertilizer. So if we go in the store, the cheapest way to buy seed is right here. So I did $800 per 1,000 liters. And then I use this one for the solid fertilizer because it's the cheapest one in the store for solid fertilizer. So I use $18.20 per 1,000 liters. And the only way I believe to buy liquid fertilizer is right here. Oh wait, there's liquid fertilizer right there. Let me see if this one is actually end up a little bit cheaper because liquid fertilizer was a little bit more here. So if I divide the 9,600 divided by 6, it is the same price. Okay, so same price there. Any other way to buy liquid fertilizer? Nope. Okay, so liquid fertilizer price I used was basically this divided by 2, $1,600 per 1,000 liters, which is the same as this one, $1,600 per 1,000 liters. So that's the price for that. Now let me put that chart up there for you. All right, so looking at the chart, Oilseed took 46 liters of seed, and the seed cost $800 per 1,000 liters, so it costs $36.80 in seed. By far the cheapest, though it did take a lot more time. Now imagine, this is a small field here. Imagine how these calculations would affect a larger field. Now next up, liquid fertilizer. Took 152 liters of liquid fertilizer at $1,600 per 1,000 liters. That's $243.20 to do this field. Solid fertilizer, when I was spreading it with a fertilizer spreader, took 100 liters of fertilizer, $18.20 per 1,000 liters, $182 to spread fertilizer. Now, the big one was the solid fertilizer spread by the subsoiler. It took 154 liters at $18.20 per 1,000 liters, and that cost $280.28, so that took the most. But even if you take that bottom one off and you look, if you compare oilseed to the next closest, which would be solid fertilizer spreading at 182, oilseed is way cheaper with the seed cost. So, and you already have a seeder most likely because you're seeding crops. Now again, it's going to take you a long time, especially if you're using a small seeder, but it might end up being worth it if you really are tight on cash, especially at the beginning. So I just wanted to put that out there for you guys so you guys knew why you'd want to use oilseed, how oilseed works, and everything like that. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and for watching.